And we're going to just maybe unfeature all of the other guests, okay? For the intros. We are now live streaming. Welcome to the Food Beverage Pitch Lounge. We'll be seeing the waiting room filling up shortly, and we'll be letting people in during the course of the event. In order to fully utilize time, we will start on time. For those watching online, we usually get about 60 to 80 of you watching on LinkedIn, further 25, 50 watching on YouTube, and a further 100, 150 watching on demand on YouTube over the course of the next 2-3 months. It's great to have your attention. So welcome to the Food and Beverage Pitch Lounge. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know who you are, your background, your business, even those that have done it already in the pre-event session. Share your LinkedIn profile so we can all connect with each other during and afterwards. We are recording the event, and it is going out live on YouTube, LinkedIn. So this event series has run since August 2020, when we hosted mainly startups from Seedless Republic, as well as one US startup. And it's run every year for 5-6 editions since then. Occasionally, we have geographically focused editions, and we have different subcategories of food. But we also have separate series which focus on other areas of the food industry. AgTech Pitch Lounge, Food Tech Pitch Lounge, that tends to focus on B2B business models, food ingredients, and the restaurant tech, those kind of businesses that are even more B2B orientated. And this series tends to be our food and beverage retail edition. It's an opportunity for food and beverage founders to secure exposure, connection to strategic advisors and support, and connection to investors. It's co-produced and co-hosted by the long-running producers of the series, Sasha Dutta of Foodpreneurs Collective, Food Hack Dubai, and now the Meals Collective, Tammy Ho of Food Hack Dubai, myself from Pitch Lounge, the Meals Collective, and Forward Fooding, and Miraj Ahmed from Pitch Lounge, and also two of our strategic advisors, two of our strategic partners, one of them joining today, one of them actually has another event where she's bridging Geneva and Monaco. She's running her own pitch event in Monaco today. That's Elena Suchi from RSVP Business Angels Club, and Gennady Goldenstein will be joining us shortly from Dynamic Ventures. While it is being live streamed, you're the lucky ones that get to interact here inside the Zoom call. We run different types of events, not just this live streamed investor demo style, but we also run a version of our events which are more coaching style, which aren't live streamed, more of a safe space, we like to say. And these take place about twice per month. And usually we've got one that's called the Foodpreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge, and we've got another one that's called the Drinkpreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge, and we're launching a new one in the next month or two, the Agripreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge. I've just pasted a link to the FAQs so you understand the different formats on our events. But yeah, a quick little introduction to the two main co-producers, Sasha and I. Sasha, who's sadly not with us today, dealing with a domestic issue, and me, who will be holding the reins. So Sasha is a founder and food and beverage community builder, and particularly of the Foodpreneurs Collective, and the Dubai lead for Food Hack in Dubai. And she's also working with me now on expanding the Meals Collective from the UK to the UAE. And she's got 15 years of experience in F&B marketing with corporates such as PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and AB World Foods. She has 10 plus years of experience in consulting and marketing strategy while co-hosting startup pitch events as a lead ambassador in both London and Dubai, because she was previously in London running Food Hack. as well as an ambassador for various other initiatives, Forward Fooding, Free from Food, Gourmet Pro, and heads up the UAE community, Food Brothers Collective, her own community, and many more. She's a very good connector and fantastic community builder. So yeah, connect with her for particularly Dubai market entry and networking, market access, and channel partners in the Dubai ecosystem. Connect with her for that. I'm just pasting her profile in the chat. If for some reason the ones that already joined us have not connected with Sasha, she's fantastic. Do connect with her. About me, I'm an event producer and promoter within the startup investment sector, particularly within food and beverage. So I'm just pasting a little bit about myself in the chat. So I'm head of events at Pitch Lounge, the next mentor with Techstars, Ignite UAE, Techstars Saudi Arabia, Ignite UAE. I graduated from a VC course at London Business School, and I've coached over 600 plus food and ag tech startups in pitching for online and in-person events. I live and work between a few different countries, between Germany, India, mainly, but I also visit the UAE about 2 times a year when things are peaceful and accessible, which hopefully now they will be. And also the UK is where I have family and where I've brought up, so I go to the UK a few times. So if you're in any of these places, do let me know. And but mainly it's Berlin, 5 months plus the year, usually I think increasingly so now, and also India. So these are markets that I most know, but it's also US is a very important market for us, and a few other countries in Europe, Austria, Switzerland, the Netherlands, other markets that we have a very good network. So moving on to our community, we have a number of groups on LinkedIn that are very active, that have run for a number of years, and we've also got a very active WhatsApp group as well that's run by it's WhatsApp community. It's various groups that's run by Sasha. I don't have a public open one yet, but I will have soon. And there's a number of ways to connect with us and to join, check out those groups. So you can, the main page on my website is pitchlounge.net/community. And on that page, you can find all those groups. And there's a few other ways of connecting with us. So we've got the YouTube channel, we've got our whole event listing on our website, and we've also got a newsletter. So that goes out weekly to over 25,000 people in the food sector, the investment sector, Pitch Lounge Investment Scoop. Would love to have you subscribing if you haven't already done so. Next, please. So yeah, today's event, we're going to have some introductions now to the panelists, the startups. Then we're going to have each of the pitches will pitch 5 to 7 minutes, and followed by further 18 to 20 minutes of Q&A with the investor panel. Then we'll have a summary, a wrap-up of who was on the panel, who pitched, and a bit of information about upcoming events. Then we'll also move to breakout rooms where we'll have one startup in each room, and that'll be a chance for you to talk a bit more with the founders, ask them more questions, and kind of keep in touch afterwards, but to have those conversations before putting things off. A few housekeeping rules. Prefer to have your video on, but if you're more comfortable keeping it off, that's fine. We'll give you some warning if you're planning a gallery shot that you can turn it off or turn it on if you're happy to do so. We always encourage people to be supportive in the chat because the chat's open. So yeah, refrain from over spamming the chat during someone's pitch. But also if you're providing feedback, just make it considerate and constructive. And yeah, be aware that the event's being recorded. And if you're not speaking or interacting as an active participant, please do keep yourself muted. This is a geopolitics and conflict-free space. Anyone mentioning anything about any politics will be asked to leave. And next, please. And now we're going to just introduce the wonderful founders we've got pitching today. So I'm just also pasting these pitches into the chat. So we've got 4 pitches at today's event. We've got David Hardigan presenting Blink Plus, sorry. We've got Tasha Arumbi presenting the Vegan Patty Lady. We've got Sophia Brockman presenting Nice One Drinks, and Joshua Skillman presenting ProBrew. I will just before they pitch, I believe we will just give a longer introduction to each one. But for now, I'll just introduce the panelists. So we've got 4 panelists today. I am sorry that it's the third time in the history of me doing online events, which are now 6 years and 150 events, that we have a manual. I'm sorry that we have all men today. And it's I did try and not make that the case, but I think it was a cocktail of factors, but that's what's happened. Happy for anyone to jump in from the audience. If we have a fifth panelist, a female investor from the UK or Europe, very welcome. Drop me a message and we'll also get you involved in the event more actively. I'm going to introduce the panelists very quickly each. So Gennady will be joining us. Is he already in with us? I know he's coming slightly late. He'll be coming shortly. In the next few minutes, he'll be with us. A little introduction about Gennady. He's a founder and managing partner at Dynamic Ventures. He's focused on driving innovation across food service, hospitality, and has 20 plus years of experience in product development, and has led initiatives at Young Brands and Wellbit, combining expertise in technology and food and beverage and operating models to support next generation concepps. I'll be pasting a bit more information about Gennady into the chat. He's been with our events for quite a long time. Really, really versatile. A VC based in Dallas, Texas, Dallas in the US. And very helpful, very supportive. So do lean on him, particularly if you're thinking about US market entry, but also if it's anything from formulation to hardware to software, he's really, really fantastic for the food tech sector. And then moving on to Imran. Imran's with us. Hi, Imran. And he's close to one of our very close partners in the UAE. So he's a venture associate at Homegrown Ventures, the region's first consumer goods focused early stage fund, investing in better for you and purpose driven brands across MENA, India, and beyond. He focuses on sourcing, due diligence, and founder engagement, supporting entrepreneurs and identifying high potential opportunities within the global consumer startup ecosystem. It's great to have you back, Imran. So they closed their first fund, and I think it was as much as 21 million, right? It was quite a large and a good half a dozen investments. So they're a serious new player in the just a few years old in the based in UAE as a team, but registered in the US as a fund. It's great to have you with us, Imran. An introduction to Imran's coming in now in the chat, and also his LinkedIn link. So do reach out to Imran, connect with him, and that'll be great. And our third panelist, hey Imran, great to have you with us. Our third panelist is also good friend of mine, been with us for a few years, particularly now, really helping us build the drinks community at Pitch Lounge, is Niraj Singh. He's a global wine, beverages, and CPG industry expert and advisor to health and wellness startups, and a founder at B2GC. He helps founders navigate cross-border growth, M&A strategy, and exit readiness, drawing on experience advising executives at leading companies such as Treasury Wine Estates, Delegato Family Wines, and Shuchero Family Estates. He's also helped launch the first wine packaging program affiliated with the UC Davis MBA program, supporting innovation and talent development in the wine industry. It's a great pleasure to have host you, Niraj. He also travels and works particularly between the US, India, and the UK, but he also works globally. I'm pasting his introduction in the chat and his LinkedIn link. But almost there, our fourth and final panelist, we have Saleh Sheikh. Saleh Sheikh is an F&B chief marketing officer and brand strategist and angel investor with 12 plus years of experience in brand packaging, digital transformation, and growth across FMCG, retail, and food tech. As a former CMO of the Lean Kitchen Network and Meals on Me, he has scaled restaurant concepts and driven significant growth and collaborated with global brands. He now invests, advises, and supports high-growth food and consumer startups. It's with great pleasure to have you back, Saleh. Just pasting his introduction also into the chat and his profile. So that concludes our 4 panelists. If there is, I'm just checking if there is a message to me from my team or anyone in the chat, but no. But again, the offer stands. If there's any female investors from Europe or the UK on the call, please do drop me a message. And we can have you also engaging more actively. We also have time for all these questions at the end of each round anyway, so that'll be fine. So quick reminder again, pitching startups, we've got the 4 on screen, and without further ado, we're going to go straight in with David's pitch. So first, a little introduction to Blink Plus, sorry. Blink
Brilliant.
Plus is the future of functional beverages. Functional mushrooms power our drinks to support brain health, stress, and healthy energy. Each drink contains only 5 grams of natural sugar, adds vitamins, has fewer than 29 calories, and 2,000 milligrams of mushroom extract. It's a great pleasure to hand over to David Hartigan, the co-founder, and he'll be talking through more about their raise. I've got you're raising 600K still, seed investment through a convertible note structure, and over to David.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jamal. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's full screen, please.
Yeah, brilliant. So, hi everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Shroom Boom. My name is David Harton. I'm the co-founder of Blink. So at Blink, our mission is simple yet powerful. We believe you shouldn't have to choose between great tasting beverages and supporting your health goals. So this is why we've created our award-winning beverage with benefits powered by functional mushrooms. So we originally started the company in 2024 and really started on the product development side, and between myself and Steve, my co-founder. And since then, we've been, I suppose, very fortunate to win a number of different awards. So our biggest award to date was at Gulf Foods in January. And we won third place at the World Agri-Tech Awards. So that was out of 600 companies, international companies in Dubai. So we actually get a free stand for next year. And we've also picked up gold at the Lunch Innovation Challenge and silver at Blastnet. So why mushrooms? So we see a huge opportunity at the intersection between functional beverages and functional mushrooms. So as you can see here, the global functional mushroom market is expected to be worth 51 billion by 2030. And the global functional drinks market is growing at a phenomenal rate and is expected to be worth 339 billion by 2030. So what's the problem? So I think we're all very aware that consumers are wanting healthier options, and we have a big global obesity crisis. So more than 1 billion people globally are suffering with obesity and living with it now. And this is being driven by high sugar drinks and poor diet. So we see the world moving away from sugar and fake sweeteners towards beverages with benefits. So as you can see here, some of these drinks have up to 54 grams of sugar, which is an insane level of sugar consumed when most people drink 1 or 2 of these a day, disregarding any other sugar in their diet. So our solution. So we're Europe's first wellness drink powered by functional mushrooms. So each of our drinks have a different functional mushroom and vitamin blend to support key functions. So in healthy energy, we've got cordyceps, the energy mushroom, with ashwagandha, B vitamins, and natural caffeine. In our calm, we've got reishi, the calming mushroom, and then we've also got magnesium. And then in focus, we've got lion's mane, B vitamins, and then zinc for brain health. So as Jamal mentioned, these are all 5 grams of sugar, between 25 to 28 calories, and all natural ingredients. In terms of NPD, one of the areas that we really want to target is hydration. So the hydration market right now is absolutely booming, and consumers are becoming more aware of the importance of hydration. So this is our newest SKU, which will be launching next month, and it's going to be wild strawberry and watermelon flavor. And that's our electrolyte blend. And then in terms of our traction to date, so pretty much from the get-go, we've had huge traction and interest. As you can see here with some of the kind of retailers we're working with, we initially started with a nationwide listing with Holland & Barrett. We're working with BWG, who are the master owners of Spar, Londis and Mace in Ireland. So they have over, I think, 600 stores across Ireland alone. Musgrave, which have Centra and SuperValue. We're just about to launch in Dunn Stores, which is Ireland's largest grocery chain. So they own 25% of the market. Circle K and Maxall, which are obviously big forecourt garage chains. And we're starting to get some really good traction with corporate catering providers. So we work with Gather & Gather, Artisan, Compass, and Aramark, who look after a lot of the large corporate sites. So from a corporate perspective, this is where we're seeing a lot of growth and a huge demand for Blink. So in the last couple of months, these are some of the corporates that we've actually took on board. So we're in Salesforce, Avalon, KPMG, PwC, and then we actually just had a tasting with Amazon today. So they're looking at listing this in their 4 corporate sites, as well as some of the big colleges across Ireland. And in terms of other kind of key accounts that we're in negotiations with, we're speaking with the team in Holland & Barrett UK to expand into their UK operation, Tesco, Applegreen, Edeka and Riwi in Germany. And we're also making some really good, interesting connections in Malta. So Farsons are the essential master owners and distributors of Pepsi and Heineken. So that we're in talks with them and My Convenience, which have over 120 stores in Malta. So in terms of the competitive landscape, where we kind of see ourselves fitting, in terms of like Red Bull, Monster, Tenzing, and Trip, we feel like we've a real competitive edge. We're very much taste first, and a lot of these drinks fall down on taste. Also from a functionality perspective, we've 2,000 milligrams of functional mushrooms in there. A lot of other brands have a very token gesture level, so they're anywhere from 100 milligrams up to about 1,000. And then in terms of the level of functions we have a nice portfolio where usually one of these other brands will go after energy, hydration, or calming. They don't have that collective portfolio. In terms of our financial projections, in 2025, when we launched, we sold over 40,000 cans and done revenue of about 442,000. In 2026, we're expecting revenue of just over 430,000. And as we move into 2030, we're expecting this to reach 5.4 million in revenue. And this will be spread across Ireland, UK, the GCC, Malta, and mainland Europe. And as we grow and expand, our target gross margin is 58%. So as we go in towards printed cans and higher volumes, our cost of ingredients, and we get that economies of scale, our costs will come down. So in terms of the investment opportunity, we're looking to raise 800,000. We've actually already secured 300,000 from Enterprise Ireland. And this will be kind of spread across sales and distribution, marketing, production scale up, and then growing the team. And this at a pre-money valuation of 4 million. So in terms of the team, Stephen, my other co-founder, has over 30 years experience in drinks. He was the European sales director for AB InBev and was involved in the rollout for Heineken 00. And then I myself, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I've been in the health and wellness space. And then prior to that, I worked in Price Waterhouse as a business consultant for over 6.5 years. So between myself and Stephen, we have a real nice combination of drinks and wellness expertise. And on our advisory panel, we've a really nice, strong advisory panel. So Val Quinn was the former European managing director for Coca-Cola. So she's, again, over 20 years experience, 17 of them in Coke. And then Pat Cooney, who's a very well-known Irish entrepreneur and the founder of Tipperary Mineral Water. And he sold his business to CNC Bulmers in 2014. So altogether, our team is very strong with a nice drinks expertise, wellness expertise, and commercial expertise. So thanks so much, guys. I know that might have been a bit quick, but yeah, happy to take any questions.
Well, David, that was perfectly timed. Fantastic.
I know last time I ran over, so I'd rather be under.
Yeah, no, it was well done. It's fantastic. Let's go first to Salah, please. Salah, your question first, or any initial, yeah, we don't want to do it. A little bit of feedback, then questions, however you want to frame it. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, really super interesting. And a very, very super interesting pitch, I should say. Very, very interesting product in a very, very interesting market. I've done a fair bit of investing in the drinks market. So I'm an angel investor in, seed investor in Dash and XOXO.
Nice, yeah.
So I mean, I think funny enough, like Dash felt like the right sort of product at the time that I invested in it. Then XOXO felt like that, and like this is the next phase of that for sure. Like now the level of functionality. And I guess my first question back to you is, it's becoming a very saturated and quite confused market. My biggest pet peeve, I think, is there's not enough. Is the way that I think a lot of these brands are now either educating or not doing a particularly good job of educating consumers, and there's just health messages coming at you from everything on the shelf. Like, yeah. I guess my first question is is there a strategy that you guys have got on how you are going to stand out in such a crowded market and get that message across around mushrooms in particular, which is obviously quite a new, newer compared to a lot of the other functional drinks in the market?
Yeah, so I didn't really give much background. So my background is in manufacturing food supplements. So I have another brand, and then we've 20 products in Holland & Barrett, and we've just launched in Boots. So I've deep knowledge in CBD, mushrooms, just wellness in general. So where we kind of really see ourselves standing out, first is on taste, and then second is on actual functionality. And because you are right, there's a huge, I suppose, explosion of new functional drinks. And like myself and Stephen were at lunch in London last year, and we tried probably about 25 different drinks. And on the get-go, first off, taste was off. I'd say probably on like 19 of them. A lot of them are using artificial sweeteners, flavors. They taste like Red Bull in a different basic packaging. So we're very much flavor first, and that's what I think has gotten us the traction to date that we've had. Because realistically, we've gotten all of them, I suppose, retailers and corporates in the past 10 months. So we spent a lot of time in reformulating, redeveloping. We initially had our sugar level a little bit higher, and we brought that down by about 65%. So like taste is absolutely where we win.
Yeah.
And I think that's where longer term companies will win, because you'll get that initial purchase, but if you don't have taste, you won't get the second purchase. And then on the functionality, that's where my expertise really come into it. So the vitamins are 50% of your daily dose. So like, for example, in the can, we have 50% of your daily magnesium. We've actually more magnesium in our products than magnesium drinks. So we make sure that the level in there is functional. And even in the clean energy, the healthy energy, we've 80 milligrams of natural caffeine. So you've basically same caffeine level as a Red Bull, but none of the jitters, because it's a slow release natural caffeine from yerba mate. You've got 200 milligrams of KSM 66 ashwagandha, which is the most studied version of ashwagandha. It's not just a generic version. So that has 40 different clinical studies on its benefits for endurance, sports, recovery, stress. So when we make a product, we make sure it is functional and it works. And I think that's the difference.
I think that's just the. I mean, I think you're doing all the right things. The watch out, and I guess the challenge is, how do you communicate that as clearly, as simply as possible? Because for exactly the reasons I was saying, like I think there's. And by the way, I also would say I agree. Taste is super important for repeat purchase. Getting someone to pick it up off the shelf in the first place now is a bit tougher than it was before, because there's so many functional drinks coming. So how you communicate your point of difference at shelf, and having looked at the can, I wonder whether I looked at it very quickly, obviously the presentation was going, so I might be wrong about this, but I wonder whether actually the fact that it's made from mushrooms needs to be dialed up a bit more, because obviously it's not in the name, it's not in blink.
So we actually, you might not even be able to see it there, but we have it on the front, powered by mushrooms.
Okay,
so
fine.
We really lean into the mushrooms. It was something we were very 50-50, whether it would push people away or draw people in. And it's probably one of the best decisions we made, because it gets that second look, and then it's about delivering on taste.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't shy away from it. I think that is the point of difference. And one more question I had, just like, how's rate of sale gone so far, I guess, within and are there any levers you've discovered that have helped to drive that where you are listed?
Yeah, so rate of sale has been going really well. On a corporate side, to give you an idea, Salesforce are doing 500 cases every 3 weeks. Now they're a free serve site, so it's a little bit different, but we're actually twice the level of their expectation. So they usually have a set standard of how many order. We're actually double that, which is obviously a really good indicator. In terms of the retail side, Holland Bar, I think we're twice the rate of sale they usually expect. And obviously they're not a drinks, I suppose, retailer by trade. And then same in the likes of the colleges that we're in and some of the retailers with Spar, our rate of sale is a lot higher than even some of the other brands that are there a lot longer. So the kind of lever that we've actually seen is just tastings. It's mass tastings, getting people liquid on lips. Once they try it, know what it is, then it takes away that barrier of like, okay, does this taste like mushrooms? Is it going to taste good? And once they know the taste is there, they're more than happy to buy. Like, we get messages all the time of people who've tried it and then they're craving where they can buy it again.
Yeah. That's good. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Salah. Let's go on to Gennady second, please. Gennady.
Hi, David. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Great presentation. Love the energy.
Thanks so much.
Couple of questions, partially building on the prior question. What's your approach to getting shelf space?
So to be honest, with shelf space, we've probably been fortunate in that no one is doing what we're doing in terms of I suppose the functional mushrooms, the vitamins and taste. So usually what we're doing with shelf space is actually just sending in samples to the buyers. They like it on taste, the category is growing. And then once we get shelf space, we drive through tastings, we drive through kind of social media, marketing, And once we get in there, we usually stay there. So like any of the retailers we've had, we've actually yet to lose a retailer. And so we are retaining our shelf space. And I think it's because it's on trend, it hits a lot of the markers on taste, sugar, quality. That's why they're actually taking it in the first place.
I understand. I guess let me approach this from a little bit different. Shelf space costs money, right? Somehow you have to convince whatever channel partner to move something else off the shelf to put your product on.
Yeah.
So that's a combination of both consumer education and channel partner education.
Yeah.
With a fairly innovative product. I mean, we're not replacing Coke with another brown sugar syrupy Coke, right? We're replacing likely something that was different on the shelf. Have you thought through about that communication and that education so the channel partners are also going to carry the product?
Yeah, so like if we take, say, Dunn Store as an example, we only met their buying team probably last month. And I think most big retailers are very aware that their exponential growth isn't going to come from Coke and Pepsi brands. It's going to come from the likes of ourselves and other challenger brands who are doing something kind of different and new. So what we've done is essentially presented them the data on our rate of sale. And then also on the, I suppose, wider kind of market data that functional drinks are growing at twice the rate of your standard soft drinks. So they know if they want to get that growth, they need to be doing something different. And most of the big retailers that we're speaking to are already putting in fridges and bays for functional drinks. So they actually have this in their planograms that they need to lean into functional. And especially even with GLP-1s, it's even more prevalent. And that people are looking for stuff that would support their health goals, whether it's gut health, obviously with your prebiotic sodas, skin with collagen, obviously brain health, and then sleep and stress. So it's probably a combination of showing them the market data and also our own data of rate of sale.
Okay. What about cost? What's your cost compared to unit cost compared to what a typical consumer would consider a competitive product?
Do you mean in terms of retail price or manufacturing cost?
Retail price.
Retail price, yeah. So retail price, our products in Ireland sell at anywhere from €2.85 to about €3.20, depending on the retailer. And that is pretty much on par with all your other kind of brands like your Newtonics, your Trips, your like the likes of Perfect Head. So we're very much in line. And it is a premium product. Like we use organic mushroom extracts. We've obviously the vitamins and everything else in there and the low sugar, but we don't have an ultra premium price point. So it's very much in line. For the UK market, we see it sitting at around £2.49 to probably £2.60, depending on the retailer. And again, it's pretty much on par. And if anything, we've actually seen a price inflation on functional, where it seems to be getting more expensive. Now, we don't want to chase that upper end. We want to make it affordable. But also it's not going to be £1.50.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
David, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thanks, Gennady. I'm going to go to Imran now. Imran, please, for your questions and guidance.
Hello again, David. How are you?
Hey, good. I
Great
only see your
seeing
email.
you.
I realized that we
Yeah,
met at Go Foods.
yes, exactly. No, hopefully after this we can definitely connect again. Great presentation. It seems like you've practiced it a bit and very clear. I also want to say on pricing, it seems like you guys have done a great job, considering the margin, the growth margin that you guys have, and the fact that you're making it a point to stay, I think, relatively affordable within the functional beverage space. I think that's super important. And where a lot of founders in the beverage space go wrong. I think the first point that I wanted to understand from your point of view, and I think the way I see Blink is it's doing a lot of things. So I think from what I can tell, based on the low sugar positioning, based on the energy drink offering, based on the fact that it's powered by mushrooms, and then now the plan is to get into hydration. From my point of view, it sounds like these are very different categories, subcategories within beverage. So ultimately, what is Blink today, and maybe what will Blink be as a platform? Because I think it could be a bit confusing to the consumer, but I'd love to hear your thinking and your plan.
Yeah, and no, that was a brilliant question. So in terms of Blink, why it has the Blink Plus, the plus is essentially the benefits. So it's plus the mushrooms, the vitamins, and the whole concept behind Blink is kind of your health in a blink. So it's calm, focus, energy, hydration, and it's quick and easy access. So the reason why we've looked at this portfolio is because no one has really done this before, where if you look at Trip, you just think calming products, it's calming
Yeah.
drinks. And
Yeah.
that is a big growing segment. And what we kind of seen was functional mushrooms have a number of different benefits, and we wanted to have this collective portfolio where your consumer throughout the day is going to be at different need states. So
Yeah.
effectively, with the 4 products that we will have, you could actually have a consumer who uses all 4 in a day. So they wake up and they start their day with their focus. As they move through, then they have their healthy energy, they have their hydration after their gym, and then they take calm before bed. So
Yeah.
it's giving the consumer the kind of need that, I suppose, the need that they have at that point in time. And so we have toyed with the idea of moving Blink beyond drinks into different supplements and different things. That's probably we're going to put on something we'll put on the shelf for now, because we could be constantly expanding and developing new products, and it could become a big distraction. So the reason for hydration is it's a huge growing segment, and from some of the retail partners we have, they actually have a gap in their market right now for hydration. So for example, the Messi drink, Mass Plus, that basically got nationwide listing in Ireland, and now they've completely canned the product and pulled it from the market. There's a huge space, even just the Irish market alone, for hydration. So we want to make sure we have that space, because we personally see hydration and healthy energy as our 2 front runners. And I think the calming kind of function will probably grow over time, but energy and hydration are by far the fastest growth. So that's where we want to be. And then, yeah, calm and focus is probably the more longer term plays.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. And the thinking behind going after all these multiple occasions throughout the day, I think, it definitely makes sense as well. But the one thing I would just want to be wary of is by kind of having this approach, you're playing against multiple big players within various categories. So you're playing against Red Bull and then the countless other energy drinks within there. Then you're playing against hydration, and then
Gatorade and your
exactly. So the risk there is just spreading yourself too thin. But no, the thinking behind that is sound, I would say. How much time do we have? 2 minutes. Okay. So you touched on driving trial. So what are you guys doing? And kind of, if you could describe your overall marketing strategy and how you're sampling.
Yeah, so like one of the big things we're focusing on is corporate accounts, because all corporates are really trying to reduce sugar in the workplace. So usually what we're doing is, it's very simple. It's go in, give them samples. The product on taste really speaks for itself. And then once they've tried the product and they're happy with it, they'll usually bring us in for free sampling. And then that's kind of get the go ahead from their staff. So once the staff say, okay, we like this, then they'll bring it in. So like literally in the last 3 weeks, we've probably took on about 10 or 15 new corporate accounts. And some of them are quite large, like Stripe is one of them. So Stripe's European headquarters is here in Ireland. I think they've over 1,000 staff. So on a corporate side, that's one thing we're doing. Then on the retail side, very similar, but doing tastings in store to really drive that awareness, get liquid on lips. And then that is very much in combination with making sure that our socials, in terms of driving ads and awareness on social media, which we are going to be ramping up. So it's kind of twofold. It's getting people aware of the product, and then making it accessible that they can taste the product. And then it's kind of rinse and repeat.
Yeah. And my last question would be, because you mentioned that you have another company that is doing distribution with Holland Bars, or is that a different brand? Something along the lines of that. Okay, it's a different brand.
So it's a different brand that does supplements. So that's been in business nearly 8 years, and we have a team in place there that kind of looks after it. But that's why we have such good relationships and connections with the likes of Holland Barrett. So we can leverage a lot of them for Blink.
Yeah. So how much of your time are you splitting between Blink and the other brand?
Blink is pretty much my full time at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, so I've my sister who looks after the other part of the business. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, thank you so much for answering the questions.
Yeah.
And great presentation.
Yeah, thanks so much.
We're just bringing in Niraj. We're running a little bit over actually, so Niraj has not got long in this round. Niraj.
Sure. Hey, David,
This
good to
food?
see you again.
Yeah, good feature.
I guess my only thought or my only comment would be, who is your customer? Because you haven't really talked about them. And also, I wonder when you're going to Stripe and the corporates, as much as they're buying your product, it's not the end consumer buying the product. So how relevant is that growth, I guess? I guess I wonder how is that metric helping you besides just the money coming in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So in terms of the first question, in terms of who our customer is, our customer kind of, I suppose, sits across a couple of segments. So obviously with the healthy energy, you're looking at kind of your gym goers, your runners, your athletes, anyone who's effectively a Red Bull or a Monster energy drink consumer would be, I suppose, our customer base on that point. And when you come into kind of your CAM product, that's probably more realistic. Your kind of your yoga, Pilates kind of consumer who wants something that's low sugar, that's healthy. And then obviously then you kind of do fall into your working professional who wants something in the office but doesn't want to be drinking.
So David, I think
Yes.
we're out of time, but I was hoping for just one customer profile. Like who's that person?
Sorry, okay.
Give me the persona, man. Anyways, we can talk about this later, Jamal. I think we're out of time, but let's talk later about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks, Niraj, for spending time. David, yeah, so much more. I think you can interact with the panelists, the panel. And I think hopefully we can continue that in the breakout rooms and in post-event meetings. Yeah. Thank you, David. Great start to the event.
Thanks.
Now, we're moving on now to our second presenter. Just bear with me. So we now have Natasha Arumbi from who's the vegan patty lady. It's an award-winning food startup producing Jamaican-inspired vegan and gluten-free patties, delivering bold Caribbean flavors through sustainable plant-based ingredients without compromising on taste. She's raising $250K investment to scale production, expand distribution, and accelerate growth. It's a great pleasure to hand over to Natasha to present the vegan patty lady.
Thank you, Jamal. Okay, so we are just going to go into our share and hopefully you can see my slides.
We can, yeah, begin when you're ready.
Amazing. Okay, so hi, I'm Natasha Arumbi and I am two-time top 100 SME award winner, founder and director of The Vegan Patty Lady. We make Caribbean-inspired vegan patties, and the story of why starts with me. Because 5 years ago, I went vegan for my health. I quickly discovered the problem firsthand that I wanted food that was nutritious, not ultra processed, had some connection to my Caribbean heritage. But what I found on the market was a stark choice. Bland health food on one side, flavorful but healthy processed options on the other, and the data backs this up. 70% of UK consumers say plant-based food needs to improve on taste and texture, and whether you're plant-based for the planet or for your body, the market currently is forcing you to choose between eating well and eating food that actually tastes good. I looked at the plant-based market specifically, and the gap is glaring, and almost nothing combines whole food nutrition, bold Caribbean flavor, and gluten-free accessibility. And so I looked into that. 6.4 million people in the UK are now plant-based. That's 12% of the population. But the real opportunity is bigger than that, because 40% of UK consumers now identify as flexitarian. These are people actively reducing meat who are hungry for alternatives that actually satisfy them. And combined, that's over 30 million people making plant-based choices every week. So the vegan food market is worth over 3.5 billion. It's growing at a compound annual growth rate of 9.5%. And the food service slice alone, if you look at healthcare, education, and transport, that's a £10 billion market. And realistically, our 3 to 5 year share is 5 to 15 million of that. And there And this is the solution. There is almost nothing that combines whole food nutrition, bold Caribbean flavor, and gluten-free accessibility in one product. And so I made it. This is the Vegan Patty Lady, Caribbean-inspired patties, whole food ingredients, no ultra processing, no artificial additives, available in full size and cocktail size, standard and gluten-free, SALSA accredited, Vegan Society approved, B Corp certified, and 4.8 on Trustpilot. So our unique competitive advantage, every competitor does have a vegan patty, but not one of them offers gluten-free. We are the first to offer cocktail size and only one of 2 brands that do that now. And we are the first to market on both. Trustpilot reviews prove that demand is real and growing, and we've seen incredible traction to date. We launched in August 2023. We sold over 60,000 patties across D2C, independent retail, and food service. We're live on Ocado, and we have 7 independent retail stores. We have been hand producing every single patty to date, which means that every number that you see here is achieved with 0 machinery and constrained production. This is going to change in Q4 because our new production unit comes online. We have projected that in that last quarter that will bring our total for this year to 49,500 patties. And that is factoring in Compass and Food by onboarding that begins next month. We have a really great team. I've spent 14 years in the food and small business development. I've built and exited a successful bespoke cake business. So I know what it takes to build and scale and move on. Our head of production, my sister-in-law, Abinye, she brings 18 years in quality assurance and holds HACCP level 3. She makes sure that we stay self-accredited and operationally ready for food service volumes. And whilst we're a small, lean team, we know our numbers. We're backed by an advisory board that includes Simon Squibb. He's invested in over 100 startups. We've got Christopher Kong, co-founder of Better Nature Tempeh, who scaled the plant-based brands to national distribution. Karen Spinner, who's CEO of the Vegan Society, and Anne-Sophie Martin-Kuka, a blue chip FMCG marketing consultant with 15 years experience, including Mars. Now, this is our channel by channel revenue forecast for the next 3 years, and every bar has an assumption behind it. And you can hopefully see the detail is quite small, but at the moment we've got care homes, which is our growing biggest near-term opportunity. We've got name contacts there, and we've got military and stadiums are in grey because they don't come into effect until 2027 because they're actively dependent on our nut-free iteration, which is coming soon. By 2029, we've got a combined channel forecast reaching 936k from food service and retail alone before the launch of our ready meal arm, which is going to be a separate raise. So we're on the path to profitability. As I said, because we're doing everything by hand, we are limited and constrained by that. And so it's loss making in 2026, and we're honest about that. But factoring in our monthly overheads and what the machine brings to our production, we will reach the profitability threshold in 2027. And by 2029, we'll be approaching close to 1 million, which is conservative numbers, considering we've got name contacts, real pipeline that is ready to go. So the ask is, as Jamal said, 250k, and the proportion, we're under SEIS. We've got 100k locked in so far because we have got investors that have already said yes. We've got the raise split across the production and facility fit out, which is the main thing that is constraining us right now. We need staffing for growth, as I said, me and my sister-in-law, and we've got marketing and sales activation that is needed to really boost those retail sales and working capital. So this investment is going to unlock the Food by framework and some supermarket listings and national scale. So 60,000 patties, every single one made by hand, national retail live. We've got a food service pipeline confirmed. We've named buyers. We've already exceeded our minimum raise threshold by getting to 100k, which means other investors have already said yes. 250k takes us from a kitchen table to a nationally scaled food brand. So the question is whether you want to be a part of that story from the beginning. We would love to have you with us. So thank you for listening. If you've got any questions, I would love to have them.
Love it. A great pitch, Natasha. Thank you very much. And yeah, great energy. She's like a media queen on LinkedIn. And if you're not already following her, you should, because her dances and her. Thank you, Natasha. Now I want to go to the, who are we going to start with this time? Let's go with Gennady first, because I think some of the questions about how some of the production facilities are maybe are changing and upgrading could be really interesting for everyone to hear. Gennady first.
Yeah. Hi, Natasha.
Hi.
Help me understand, is this a retail product or this is a product for the food service market?
It's
both?
both. So we're currently listed in retail, and we want to expand the retail distribution. But the retail, if I'm honest, that was more to build our credibility and the proof. Our real margin and scale is with the food service, because that's where we can get much bigger volumes at a higher margin.
Okay, and food service, for example, would be pick your favorite chain. They would be using your patties in their menu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you're using retail to essentially educate consumer. Is that the approach? Are you planning to
educate consumer, build the brand, build credibility, and growth in that way?
Okay, so when somebody goes to, well, let's make fun of McDonald's because why not? So they'll go to McDonald's and they'll see a double hamburger using the vegan patty from the vegan patty lady. They'll recognize the brand. Is that your thinking?
Not quite, because it's not a patty as in a burger patty. This is Jamaican Caribbean patty that is much more similar to a pasty. So it's a different product. So yeah.
So that's where I'm having a little bit of a stumbling block. If I'm a food service operator, can I use the vegan patty product to replace something I already have, or I have to create a new menu position?
It's basically a product that is adding to the menu options, because most menus don't have a gluten-free and vegan option. So we're actually giving them something that they've been craving, especially we've had specific demand on the Caribbean options. There's so many people who are in food service, the care home, they specifically ask, they have got people who can't eat their normal foods anymore because they're just not available in the food service. Right. And so this is what we fill in a gap of demands for people that really, really want that food.
Okay. So it's not a pure food service play. It's more of trying to use food service as another channel.
Absolutely.
For the product. Okay, that it may work. It'd be even more interesting to see if you can find a way to use a vegan patty product to not add to the menu, but to basically replace something in the menu. It just will be easier path to get the one.
They could actually replace the patties that exist at the moment. There's lots of food service that do sell patties and have them at their events, but we have a gluten-free product that can pass for a meat patty. Nobody knows it's meat when they eat it, so that's a really big win. It tastes, as some people say, better.
Absolutely. So if there's a concept that already has something that is a Caribbean patty or equivalent, a calzone, for example, you would position this as, I know it's not calzone, it's just easier to use an example. So I can either get a calzone or I can get a gluten-free vegan calzone.
That tastes better.
Exactly. So think about if there's an opportunity to reposition that, you'll just get more scale faster that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great point.
What is your all-in cost right now per what's our package unit, a box?
So in the retail, they are sold as 6 cocktail patties, and their RIP is £5 to £6.50 for the non-gluten-free, and the gluten-free ones are ranging at £9, and they are selling out even at that high cost, which we hope once we've got the manufacturing we can reduce, which is going to bring on even more customers. But at the scale that we could do it, £9 tops.
So that £9 box, what's your own cost?
Well, we don't really discuss that online, so happy to discuss that offline. But we are making a profit with the machinery at the moment. It's loss making with doing it by hand because we just physically cannot make enough to cover the overheads and the cost.
Understand. Without openly saying what your cost is, what is your approximate cost breakdown between the cost of goods, the actual proteins, cost of packaging, and labor? Approximate breakdown of those three parts as percent of total cost.
About 40 to 50%.
Okay, and how much of that is packaging? The box?
Not much.
Not much.
Very small percent of packaging.
Okay, so it's mostly the
Overheads.
The overheads, most of the overheads. What about the cost of the ingredients?
That is the smallest cost. The ingredients is because I'll literally just use vegetables and so it's hardly anything. The cost is the overheads and having taken so long to make it by hand means we just physically can't make that many in the time.
Okay. Do you already have a plan for how you're going to scale?
Yeah, the machinery is now en route. Now we've got a new production facility, which is why the Q4 rollout of the food service is imminent. So we're really excited about that.
Right. You're projecting 50,000 patties in 26. What about beyond that? Are you thinking your own facility? Are you thinking the co-packer? You haven't thought about that far?
Yeah, we thought that far. We're going to do the first couple of years on our own. We've approached co-manufacturers who've been hesitant because of the two cross-contamination issues, the vegan and the gluten-free, and they don't want to touch it unless the volumes are giving them enough proof that they're going to make profit. So we need to that's why we had to build our own production facility, because we've tried third-party manufacturing, but until we can prove that we're going to have the volumes, which is what's going to happen now with the food service, that will be the aim, to get that support.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking, how do you continue to grow, especially assuming you want to go beyond your home market?
Yeah, I mean, we really definitely want to get it to Europe, across globally. This product is demanded in lots of different spaces. So co-manufacturing is definitely the way forward. But I think initially we just have to prove that market first.
Yeah, so that's one thing you need to think through, is you need enough scale that you're interesting for co-packers.
Exactly that.
But how do you get to that scale that you're interesting in co-packers? Yes, you have your own facility, but that will only carry you so far.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Interesting. Thanks, Natasha. I think tons of opportunities,
Thank you so much.
especially given the nature of the product. I think your margins are quite impressive, and basically will be even more impressive as you scale up.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And think about how you flip to a food service model. So it's not a whole new menu item, because that will limit you to just a few of the Caribbean concepts, and there's not many of them.
Totally hear that. Really good point.
Thank you.
Bringing it in now. Thank you, Gandhi.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you so much for the presentation. Loved your energy. So yeah, congrats on that. Couple questions. One is, because to be honest, I don't know if I've ever tried a Jamaican party. So yeah, in the UAE we don't have many Jamaican restaurants. So, but we'll definitely try one next chance I get. But I think one thing that we've touched on already is some people don't know what a Jamaican party is. And I think Jamaican culture is very popular in the UK, given the amount of Jamaicans and everything. But do you see a limitation on the scalability of the brand, given the fact that maybe outside the UK, not many people know a lot about Jamaican culture? Excuse me.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's a huge opportunity, because I think what people want now is health and taste. And as Jamal says, we are really active on socials, and I know that we will definitely be able to break into that market through ads and promotion. But I think it's very familiar to a lot of other comparables. So we've got empanadas and I've been told that there's different exactly what the previous panel was saying. You know, there's other things that it's similar to. It's just a Jamaican version.
Yeah. I think you touched on my next question. So I'll assume that you'll claim that these are as, or I'll assume that they are as tasty as non-vegan.
Yes. Yes.
But how are you balancing being a vegan product, but also being appealing to non-vegan customers? Because I'm not a vegan.
Yeah.
I happily eat meat, but when I come across vegan products, I'm often quite kind of turned off because
Yeah.
there's a bad connotation with vegan products. So
Absolutely.
how are you kind of balancing that?
That's our primary marketing drive. We say so good that meat eaters can't tell, and we use loads of ads where they're literally tasty and they're like, "Oh my god, this is not vegan. This is not vegan. No
Yeah,
way," because they
yeah,
just really can't tell.
okay, clear. And the last thing I wanted to add, well, two things if we have time. One thing would be on new product development. Well, I mean, and these go hand in hand actually. So the name of the brand is restricted to parties, but ultimately, what do you see the brand as 5 to 10 years down the line from now? And then to go in hand with that, what's your thinking behind new product development?
Well, definitely, there's a market for Caribbean tasty whole foods that isn't ready meal available, and we've tapped into that market now. So we've already got some very exciting developments, which is tying into our bigger projections that are on the line to go with that. The Caribbean market is so underserved, and it's not just Caribbeans that want Caribbean food. The jerk scene here is wild.
Yeah.
People love Jamaican Caribbean inspired food.
Yeah. So do you see the name as a brand as a potential limiting factor to becoming a culturally Caribbean
I think this will be one arm.
platform?
This will be one arm of it. We've already got
Yeah.
another name for the new brand. It's already
Okay,
trademarked.
Oh, so it's going to be a separate brand. Okay. Got it.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much, Fran.
you're welcome.
Thank you, man. Now let's bring in Salah next, please.
Hey, Natasha, great to meet you.
Hey, Salah, nice to meet you too.
Really, really great presentation, and I'll echo what the previous two guys have said. Like, great energy. I just wanted to start. So I've got a couple of questions. I just wanted to start with the numbers because, like, you're showing a pretty significant jump. I think it was in profitability, if I can remember, between this year and next year. And I know obviously part of that will be to do with your own facility going live.
Yeah.
But I would have thought there's quite a heavy cost associated with that. So I just wanted to like dig into the numbers a little bit to understand, like, how have you projected such a ginormous leap, I guess, from this year to next year?
You could reshare
The
your
mach-
projection slide if you want, Natasha.
Yeah,
Do you want
I
to
would
reshare the
say
slide?
so.
It might help
Yeah.
the audience and both of you.
Okay, let me just get that. So this is can you see that now? The different channels are, as I said, we've already had those conversations and we're literally now just determining numbers. This is already in the conversations, and there is a number of other people that I didn't put on this slide that are also excited, but not as close. They're just warm. But
Okay.
this growth with the machinery, we can produce it multiplies our production and scale. Like the numbers, instead of doing 300 now, we can do like 10,000. Like, so it's kind of the scale and capacity, even with just a really scaled back team. So what we're planning to do is just keep it as scaled back as possible and go with the volumes that are being able to be driven by the food service so that we can keep that profit. Of course, when we want to do co-man, that's going to eat into that profitability. But for now, in this small space, while we're proving that volume so that we are more attractive, we will have that profitability because it's as I said, it's not the cost of the materials. We're literally just using vegetables, lentils, and mushrooms. It's so cheap. It is actually just the overheads of the building and how long it takes us to make it by hand. That is literally just suffocating.
Yeah, got it. Okay, cool. Second question I was going to ask is, from everything that I have read recently and heard recently about plant-based in the UK, like it's very much started to stagnate. Like I think it actually declined last year, and from the figures I remember looking at, it declined last year, and it seems to have kind of leveled out a little bit this year. And just I guess considering this is a very niche product from a niche, like you'd argue, not a mainstream cuisine, but like a more niche cuisine in a very niche category. How much does it feel like? I mean, does that feel like a limiting factor? And how do you break out of that?
Yeah, so
Or do you play into that?
I think you play into it in as much as I am not aiming at my predominant market is not vegans, it's flexitarians who actually want to be more health conscious. So that market is way bigger than just vegans. I think that would limit me if I did that. So you're really correct on that. The vegan market, I think if there is a decline that is visible, it's because people are opting out of all the rubbish. It's rubbish that is on it's so over processed, it doesn't taste good. So people are just like, I'm not doing that. I'm voting with my feet. That's why I ended up making it myself, because I was tired of what was available. So I feel like if people can find something that tastes just as good and is actually better for you, better for the planet, I actually think our scope and our audience is going to increase massively, especially with all the marketing behind it.
Yeah, I think the challenge, I guess, is so one of the first brands that I created as part of a ghost kitchen business I was working at in the UK was in, I think it was 2019, 2020. We created a vegan burger brand called WTF. And we found, it was right place, right time, sales really took off. Again, similar to you, we purposely picked partners who had patties that were better for you, rather than going down like the Satan route or the et cetera, et cetera. And we found it, did really well to begin with. And then it just dropped off and dropped off and dropped off. And it felt like there was a real novelty factor to it, and people were really excited at the beginning. But actually, for flexitarians in particular, driving that repeat was quite difficult. So is there a strategy, or have you got a marketing strategy already set out as to how you encourage that repeat? Because the interesting thing, I guess, in this market is it's not just about taste. Because like if I'm happy to eat meat and non-meat, I can also get the taste from meat, if that makes sense. And so this might be really cool to try the first time and be like, oh wow, it actually tastes really good. But then when push comes to shove the second and third time, I might just end up going back to meat, if that makes sense.
I think we're leaning into the health because people are trying to reduce meat for health as opposed to just wanting to eat vegan. I think we've got a 31% repeat rate at the moment, and I feel like people are locked in. Not our customers are paying a premium price, I would say, because it's healthier for them. And I went vegan for health. I was a hardline carnivore, so I didn't want to go vegan, but there's so many people like me. The first thing that people do when they're sick, they have to cut out meat, cut out sugar, cut out dairy. Those things are, scientifically, even though some people want to argue, not as good for us as everything else. And so that is where we drive in health as the major kind of push.
Great, thanks Natasha.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sarah. And then we just go to Niraj to wrap us up, nice and quick, in this round, because you've obviously met her before, Yeah,
Natasha, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's much more crisper and clear. You had great answers. I'm complete on my side. I think all my questions have been answered for it.
That was because of your helpful feedback. Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad it was helpful. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of that second round and our second setup. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Niraj, for your 2 cents, and thank you to the 3 panelists as well for your interactions. We're now moving on to our third startup pitch. I'm just bringing up that information. And we have a Nice One Drinks, and we have Sophia Brockman. Nice One Drinks is a female-founded premium sparkling vodka soda brand offering low sugar, low calorie, and naturally flavored drinks inspired by Australian summers. With bold flavors and a fun personality, they bring a fresh approach to modern mindful drinking. They are, I think, I might have just repeated, are they raising 400K? Yeah, to scale operations and accelerate growth?
We're raising 100K.
100K, sorry, yeah. Yeah, apologies.
Not
Yeah,
that
100K SCIS assurance, and it's a quick pleasure to hand over to Sophia Blockman to present Nice One Drinks.
Thanks, Jamal. Hi, everybody. I'll just share my screen. Get full screen there. Hopefully everyone can see that okay.
We can, yeah. Please begin with.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So as Jamal mentioned, I'm the founder of Nice One. We're a premium canned drinks brand, currently pre-seed, pre-revenue, but we are on the verge of launching this summer in London to start. As he also mentioned, is this going to work? Here we go. Sorry, I'll go back one. So Nice One is a range of sparkling vodka soda drinks that were inspired by my last decade living in Australia, but they are thoroughly London bred. They're light on sugar, calories, and light on alcohol as well. Naturally flavored, and it's a drink that you'll find out soon why I call the perfect hybrid. Before I tell you about the opportunity and sort of the business that I'm building, you're probably wondering why an American / Aussie citizen is the right person to launch a drinks brand in the UK and eventually Europe. So I'll introduce myself probably first. My background is not specifically in drinks, but I've spent the last 13 years of my career helping other brands across multiple continents, 8 different markets, really become part of the cultural zeitgeist and to grow. I've worked across brand strategy, integrated comms, customer research and insights, creative strategy, and that's for global and local brands. And that includes the likes of Amazon and Adobe, Fulfill Nutrition, Penfolds. The list goes on, some B2B, some pharmaceuticals as well. So my whole career has really been about understanding what consumers want from any category before they even realize they want it. And now I'm ready to apply that to a brand of my own. And the last thing to know about me that's probably very relevant and makes me qualified is that I do absolutely love the social scene and having a cheeky bev, wines, cocktails, spritzes. But when I first moved to London a long time ago, I quickly became quite devastated, or a short time ago, I should say. I became very devastated because I couldn't find my absolute go-to drink from all of my years living in Sydney and living in Seattle, which was these sort of premium canned hard vodka sodas that had light alc, but also low sugar, but were still flavorful, still kind of felt cool, good to hold in my hands. And I couldn't find them practically anywhere. So when I started to look into if anyone was feeling that same frustration or feeling the same way that I was, that's when I discovered that the UK has a drinking problem. Not that kind of drinking problem, thankfully. No, the problem is that the drinking culture here has really evolved, but the options haven't. 90% of UK drinkers say that they're trying to moderate their drinking in some way, and that especially applies to women. And while we're wanting to drink less, we're also wanting to drink better. As everyone I'm sure knows, we're being more conscious about how much sugar we're ingesting, and that includes in our drinks. And wanting to just feel better the next day, worried about things like anxiety is becoming a phrase in the cultural zeitgeist. At the same time, we're still wanting to socialize as much as ever. I think it's a reality that we still want to hold something aesthetic in our hand that represents us well. We still want to be on the social scene, especially in London, dancing, flirting, hitting the pub garden. But at the same time, we don't want to compromise on the sugar or the calories or put up with that next day regret that the current options sometimes seem to fall into. When I looked at those existing options, it really fell into sort of one of two camps for me when I was desperately seeking it out. Higher ABV, kind of heavy and sugary sweet cocktail, canned RTDs, ready to drinks, or super light, but almost going kind of fully bland and soulless things like hard seltzers, that just don't have any taste and they kind of taste like TV static. And then there's also just alcohol free being the only other option for if you want to drink, it doesn't really work. That's exactly where a Nice One comes into the picture. So we occupy this space between premium RTDs and then mass-produced hard seltzers on the other end for people who don't want to stop drinking completely, but they just want to start drinking a little better. Nice One is especially formulated so that drinkers don't have to compromise on taste or personality or having something actually cool that they want to have in their hand. and drinking moderately, or being able to not wanting to compromise on their wellness goals that we have as well, and that are increasingly prevalent in culture today. As I'm sure everyone already knows, the UK ready-to-drink category is worth around 1.5 to 2 billion pounds, was the last I saw in the UK, and light RTDs within that actually represent 300 to 500 million pound opportunity just by themselves. Meanwhile, the idea of alcoholic sodas or light vodka soda canned drinks within that category remains really underdeveloped compared to the US market, compared to the Australian market, both of which I'm very familiar with from my time living in both. What also makes this, I think, the right time for Nice One is the fact that consumers are increasingly sort of rejecting these big corporate alcohol brands in favor of a lot more of independent brands that kind of feel like a best kept secret, that are more community driven, that feel chic, and like someone that if you're in the know, you know about that one brand. We're seeing that pop up across categories, but it's absolutely true in alcohol that increasingly what you're holding in your hand says something about you and your identity. Basically, I want Nice One to be that perfect hybrid. So let's look at the actual drink, the moment of truth. I call it the perfect hybrid because when we formulated it, I wanted it to taste sort of sophisticated enough for someone who usually orders a cocktail or a bespoke cider or sour beer at the bar, but something that's easy and kind of casual enough to drink all afternoon at a picnic or at a barbecue or a festival or a house party. So we've developed, as you can see here, 3 launch flavors, each with flavorness and premium vibe of cocktail, but low ABV, low calories, drinkability of a hard seltzer. There's the crowd pleaser, raspberry and lime. Tropical holiday vibes is lychee and yuzu. And then sleeper favorite, it's got a bit of a spicy kick to it, is the pineapple and jalapeno. As you can see, they all look really strikingly beautiful in your hand or on the shelf. They have better for you creds, and they're designed with a really clean, dry finish. So they're not too sweet, but they're still flavorful. That was a big one for me when we were making it. And I'm excited that we've taste tested these now with like 50 plus consumers thus far. And the response has been really encouraging. People consistently tell me that this is sort of what they wish hard seltzers tasted like when they kind of had a big boom 5 years ago. Others talk about the drinkability and how they could easily have, 3 of these after they've had their favorite wine. And most importantly, I'm getting a lot of feedback that I would buy this tomorrow. When is it launching? When can I have it? In terms of my business plan, our model is intentionally going to be multi-channel, but we really want to build community and loyalty through DTC. That's where we think our margins are strongest, around 65 to 70%. Where we can create kind of mixed packs and do limited drops, where we could do brand collaborations and community event collaborations and merchandise as well. Everyone's excited about. But we also want to build discovery through on-trade. So looking at independent sort of Aussie adjacent brands and restaurants, boutique hotels and lifestyle stores, again, brand and community events and that channel we see around being 55 to 60% gross margin. That's going to be incredibly important for brand building. And finally, we do seek to expand into kind of premium retail and a very curated stockist set with margins around 45 to 50. So they can meet Nice One at a party, they can pick it up at their local, they can fall in love with it online. That's sort of the flywheel that we're looking to build. And we may be pre-seed and pre-revenue, but we've had some good momentum the last 6 months or so. I've personally bootstrapped around 25K to date, probably more, to develop and refine the launch SKUs. We've completed brand identity, secured all of our scalable production partners who are standing by. We've generated some early on-trade interest, which is great. Built the website, ready to go with pre-order capabilities happening imminently. Received over $30,000 in micro investor commitments so far. If anyone is interested here tonight in getting involved, I would love to be able to send some samples your way. I know that tasting and you can really see how it's so light, but it's got the 4.5% ABV. Ooh, I hit my time limit.
Yeah, you're quite over, Sophia. 2-3 minutes now. But if you can wrap up quite quickly, you're only getting 10 minutes at this point. Wrap it up quickly if you can.
Yeah. Well, I'll just close with what we're looking for.
So can you be mindful of your mic, because you're pushing me against the mic and it's going against your jumper or something? And I was going to tell you earlier, but I wasn't sure it was only me. So be mindful with your mic, okay?
Sorry about that.
Something's going wrong with the mic.
Can you hear me?
Continue. Yeah, please continue.
Okay, great. Well, I'll just wrap with what we're looking for, which is obviously the raise. We're looking for 100K pre-seed round, and we're SCIS assured. But in the immediate future, we're also looking ideally for advisors that we can support us across commercial, growth, consumer, as well as looking for introductions to some of our early sort of founding distributors and stockists. And I'll close it out there. Would love to have you join me on this journey. We're very early days, as you can tell, but we have a vision for where we want to go, and I'm open to answering any questions that you might have.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sophia, particularly for jumping on this, of course, at quite late notice. You only registered, I think, on Friday, just gone, and we had our call on Monday, didn't we? So great work on turning this around, and a wonderful pitch. I want to start with Imran this time, then we'll go on to Niraj, just to mix up the order a bit. So Imran first, please.
Sophia, amazing pitch.
Okay.
I love the brand. I think, well, specific to the pitch, maybe, I mean, could be a little bit faster. Also because I think, to be honest, and I don't say this lightly, I think the brand speaks for itself. And I really think that this is a space that has so much headroom. So I think you're definitely in the right place. A couple of things. I mean, I definitely relate to everything that you said. I'm Gen Z, so I think this is a Gen Z brand. So my first question is, how are you planning on specifically hitting Gen Z? And in parallel, like, that could also be through marketing, and how are you planning to build noise among Gen Z?
Yeah, you've nailed it. I think our sweet spot is sort of firmly established Gen Z, but all the way up, honestly, to millennials as well, because as millennials get older, we're increasingly needing to find drink options that also kind of fit that minimizing the damage kind of space, which is where I'm at. So we're not building it exclusively for Gen Z, but you can see, I mean, dopamine branding. Thank you so much. I completely feel like that. I think with targeting Gen Z specifically, alcohol has sort of become part of it's one brand of many that has become sort of part of people's personal style and aesthetic. So what you hold, I think I mentioned before, at a picnic, or bring to a 6-pack of to the dinner party, or to a house party, or to a festival, says something about you in the same way as your trainers do, or the phone case that you have on. So I think Gen Z in particular treats brands as extensions of their identity and their self-expression. To get really tactical with you, I do want to basically target where Gen Z are actually drinking. So I think there's a number of independent pubs around London that are just going to naturally be stockist targets for us. And then also building grassroots momentum early and building kind of community grassroots word of mouth popularity amongst Gen Z and younger kind of trendy millennials is a big thing on socials. So we're actually launching our on Instagram and TikTok sort of simultaneously in the next few weeks. And our content is not going to just be bottom funnel sales focused. We really want to paint Nice One to be a part of the lifestyle, part of the brand, the community, and focus heavily on sort of brand awareness that's entertaining and touches on some of those like human truths that every Gen Z knows to be true about balancing corporate life and work versus going to the pub and when's happy hour, and different drinking occasions that are specific to those few generations. Yeah,
I think you touched on something super important, is successful social media marketing with especially these new age brands. It's really about being authentic, and a lot of the content strategy doesn't actually surround the product itself, but more so the brand world and the relatability with who you're targeting and everything. So I think that's going to be super important. Also, Jamal, I have a few questions, so if I'm going too long, just feel free to cut me off. In terms of, thank you. So why vodka, not tequila, given I think tequila is having a moment, especially kind of now and with this generation?
Yeah. Well, the beauty of the formulation, and we did actually consider And by we, I mean I'm myself and
Yeah.
the advisors that I've worked with in these kind of early stages, the behind the scenes advisors. We did consider even gin as having a bit of a renaissance at the minute, and sort of gin for the modern world. I think the beauty of this formulation is that vodka made sense for sort of this founding flavors because it's a good neutral base. And
Yeah.
when you taste the product, you'll be able to see that the actual natural fruit flavors come out really cleanly and you don't taste any alcohol at all. It's actually a miracle. It'd probably be a dream drink for if you were a little hungover and you were backing it up the next day at the pub beer garden. But that said, we could absolutely extend into other drink areas. Ranch water is having a huge moment in the US at the minute. And there's
Yeah.
a few brands that are starting to play like that internationally.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love my next flavor to be tequila based, and you could reproduce it in almost the same way as the current flavor profile and the
Yeah.
current ingredients.
Yeah. And my next question will be, given how big hard seltzers are in the US, do you think UK consumers will accept them as well? And what do you think the differences will be? And yeah.
I think that's why I'm careful to not call it a hard seltzer, because the reality is that about 5 years ago, when the US was having a big hard seltzer boom, all of those super US centric brands, which they had a brand problem, I think, in the first place around sort of being associated with juvenile frat culture and tailgating, football tailgating, which is super American. So there was a cultural mismatch. But I also just think the term hard seltzer in itself, the term seltzer in itself, is not what English people use, or Australians for that matter. But they do really, the RTD canned cocktail space has absolutely exploded because they instantly have that recognition that the booze that they like is in that, and they know exactly what to expect when it comes to taste. So I think the canned RTD space is actually missing that kind of in between that isn't the hard seltzer that's like uber bland, but isn't quite that white box moth kind of small canned cocktail designed to be enjoyed in just one. They're missing that hybrid in between.
And given the brand, I think aesthetically it's very female friendly, which I think is a great approach. But how do you plan on maybe not alienating male consumers, and by kind of balancing that? That's obviously not easy to do. So yeah, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I have thought about this because you're right. We're sort of unashamedly going after women. They're definitely a target market, but that doesn't mean to say that they're the only target audience or that you can expand beyond. One, I feel, and I've gotten feedback from the men that have tried it and tasted it and also experienced the branding. I do find that this younger generation of men that are quite comfortable in their masculinity have no problem drinking a fruity drink out of a colorful can. And if you're a bloke that is scared to drink something that looks like this, then I can really see that looks like this, then you're probably not the right audience for me anyway, because we are looking for that trendsetter set. Secondly, I think women in alcohol are like oftentimes the tastemakers of waves of trends. Rosé, frosé, Aperol spritzes, all of these huge trends in alcohol are oftentimes driven by women as the early adopters, and then trendy men come on board that are comfortable with their masculinity and happy to hold a wine or hold a canned vodka soda. I think there's also something to be said of brand ambassadors in that space as well. I've got already some male influencers that I have my eye on that are really self-assured, absolutely love a drink, whether it's a beer or a wine or a whiskey or a vodka soda, and they'll happily drink it and be peer proof.
No, I think that's a great answer. And I think what a lot of successful brands have done is been very, intentional about who you're targeting at first. And I think a lot of brands actually make the mistake of trying to target too wide of an audience. So once you capture women within a certain, whatever, Gen Z, and really build strong loyalty and a strong community there, strong feedback loop there, then I think exactly to your point, they'll be the tastemakers and everyone else will follow. Thank you so much. It was great, and I love the brand. Personally, as a fund, we unfortunately don't invest in alcohol, given we're based in the UAE and but I think and regardless, I'd love to jump on a call with you and brainstorm and learn more and see if there's anywhere we can help.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sophie.
Great questions, Iman. I'm really, really generous as well. Really love that exchange. I love that exchange and also the follow-up. Thanks, the Sophia. And let's move on next to Niraj. So, yeah.
Hey, Sophie. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was well put. My only thoughts are around the go-to-market strategy. I believe you mentioned something around going through 3 channels.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of talk through that. Like, what channels are you considering? What's the timeline? And what's your approach to that?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think the cost will be for each channel?
So the first phase, I think we will be D2C via our website. We're launching a pre-sale imminently for sort of a mini run. And then if I'm able to secure funding, that's what will fund our first sort of larger commercial scale run of cans. But I think that D2C driving through the website is sort of a first one, easy one to get up and running, mainly not for volume purposes, but to start that kind of grassroots availability and talkability that the brand has. The second, not necessarily phase, because I think I'm going to be doing it in parallel, is building the push into independent stockists. And I've already, and also distributors into like sort of that are driving into independent stockists. So independent pubs, events, companies, community groups. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Aussies in London or London Lines, some of those different community groups, or East, All Points East Festival, some of the smaller scale festivals. Those are all on my hit list, I suppose, to be actively targeting and pushing for. I'm going to Bread and Jam Fest in a few weeks, actually, where there's 42 distributors, many of which are perfectly aligned to this sort of premium, looking for something elevated, but that's still approachable, that hits a little bit of that health and wellness aligned, a better for you alcoholic drink. So I'm looking forward to that as well in parallel. And then I think long term, it would be great to get stocked in a few of those sort of large scale premium. Like, I don't think earning shelf space, I don't know if I'm the right brand for Offies and Tesco, but I would love to look at M&S and Waitrose and understand if they want a third party counterpart to some of their kind of Me Too spritzes that they're putting on their own shelves.
Definitely. Thank you. I guess I'll just leave with the one thought, and then then Jamal can go to the next panelist. There's going to be a lot of hidden costs, both energy-wise, bandwidth-wise, and also monetarily for each channel. And what I would say is that I think as a solo founder, even if you had a couple of partners with you, co-founders, there might be a certain amount of overwhelmment that happens by attacking all 3 at once. So what I would suggest is doing something that Mother's Root did. In fact, they're one of our presenters, and they've, I think, raised a large amount of money. I think like worth, I think 17 million or something. What they did, they're based in the UK, and what they've done is initially they targeted women, but they mastered the direct consumer channel, and they went from like 10 cases to like, I don't know, 1,000 cases just by DTC, right? Great margins and everything like that. And then they looked at the next phase, which is, going on premise probably. And they're like, oh, we're having trouble with the supply chains. So now we got to get a supply chain manager on board, right? And so there'll be these different problems that you encounter along the way. So I think as an investor, I'd love to see you master one phase first, and then go to the second phase, because you'll be hiring people to complement your skill sets along the path. And I think that if you execute well in each phase, you have a really good road ahead of you. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much for that guidance. And that's actually quite freeing, because D2C is really where I find the most exciting and what I'd like to build. And knowing that that could actually be strategically sound as well, when I've heard so much about distributors and stockists and the B2B side of things, it's very heartening to hear. And I'd love to pick your brain more on that, but I'll thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk afterwards. Okay. Cheers.
Thank you, Niraj. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to go straight to Gennady. And I think Zala has one question for the chat that you can answer afterwards, Sophia. Okay, so there will be a question coming in a minute. But first, let's go straight to Gennady just to wrap up this round. Okay, Gennady.
Yeah, Sophia, thank you so much. Great pitch, great product. You are getting into a very red ocean territory, but you're pretty positioned to be successful in it. It's still a risk. You know it. You know the nature of this sector quite well, but you have all the right tools. You have a right product, the right positioning, and I think the right business model. My fellow panelists raised a lot of the points I was going to raise. So I'm just going to leave one more, and it's not a question. It's just it's a heads up. Customer acquisition costs are going to be whatever you think they are, triple them. Potentially try to find some strategic partners. I'm not saying celebrities, but somebody who can find that into the customer segments that you're targeting. That actually might be a somewhat cheaper way than trying to buy customer acquisition, just basically get that strategic influencer or whatnot. Otherwise, tough market, but you are pretty well positioned to do some good in it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, we're definitely thinking about influencer marketing. That's sort of a relief to hear because that's actually my wheelhouse and where I came from is the integrated comms world. So yes, that sounds great to know that and to kind of stress test that as an approach with someone like you is very valuable. So thank you very much.
It's not the only way, it just might be a cheaper way.
Yeah. Lord knows we need cheaper ways right now in the alcohol world.
Good job.
Gennady. Thanks, Gennady. Thank you, Sophia. Great pitch and great exchanges there with the panel. I look forward to you continuing the conversations in the breakout rooms and after the event. Thank you for joining us. Very, very good of you. And also having you back again on the 16th of July to meet our drinks team of Emil and Niraj will be back. And we've also got a number of other fantastic players like Maria Harding, who's a specialist in drinks exporting. And we also have some other new faces as well. So look forward to hosting you on the 16th of July and also keeping in touch with you and promoting your updates along the way of the next month and more. Yeah. So now we're moving on to the final pitch for the event. And we have Josh, who's come back actually having a pitch on our Drinkspreneurs Collective Pitch Lounge edition in the past. I think just a month or two ago, he was with us pitching, and now he has returned. So Joshua Skillman will present ProBrew. They're redefining coffee with the UK's original instant protein coffee, delivering 8 grams of protein per serving while combining great taste, quality, and functional nutrition. They are driving innovation in the hot drink space with more products ahead. They are raising 400K to scale marketing and sales, increase inventory, production capacity, improve operations, and expand the team to accelerate direct-to-consumer growth and subscriptions. It's a great pleasure to hand over to Josh to present ProBrew. Josh.
Thanks, Jamal. Hi, everyone. I appreciate I am the last pitch tonight or this evening, wherever we are in the world. So I will talk about something that might give you a bit of energy, which is coffee. So we're not just another coffee brand. I'm Josh. I'm the founder of ProBrew, and we're upgrading one of the strongest daily habits that is in the world. And our mission is simple. It is a simple swap for better nutrition. So the problem really is, and the market as a whole, is that a lot of people struggle to get good sources of protein in or to up their protein intake. So my background is in personal training and sports therapy, and I've seen the problem over and over and over again. People wanted to have the right intentions to improve their nutrition, but really life kind of got in the way, and there was always a level of an excuse. So often breakfast was rushed, protein targets were missed, shakes were brought in, but never really stuck as a habit. And they just slowly took up cupboard space. So most of the other protein products also come with compromises, whether that's due to long lists of ingredients or artificial sweeteners. It just never really stuck. they all tasted kind of like chalky, artificial, and packed with ingredients that people couldn't name again if they tried. And really, people shouldn't have to choose between taste and convenience just to get better nutrition in. So this is why I created ProBrew. We are a coffee brand first. We combine a Colombian Arabica bean, which is ground into an instant, combined with a micro ground coffee and a collagen-based protein mixed with a few other amino acids, that delivers a functional coffee first that is built on taste first. So there's no chalkiness, no artificial sweeteners, there's no blender required, and there's no extra routine. They just make a simple swap for their morning coffee or a daily two coffees for ours. So it's currently made in the UK under specific temperature humidity conditions that is actually patent pending production process. And we're not just a protein product or a protein powder pretending to be a coffee. We've built this from being a coffee first. So a little bit about the team. So why us? So I'm obviously Josh, and my co-founder is Leisha. So we both come from a personal training, physio, sports therapy background, and I converted that into e-commerce sort of about 10 years ago. So I understand customer problems from a practical aspect, and then also commercial side from building and helping scale other e-commerce businesses. So my co-founder Leisha, she is a co-founder and qualified nutritionist, and also personal trainer. So, you know, we've both had massive experience with dealing with clients, dealing with nutrition as our day-to-day jobs previous. So she brings the evidence-led approaches. We obviously collaborate on the dosages and the education that's needed. And between us, we have the right experience to make healthier choices easier. So the market opportunity as it currently sits from the data that we could find. So we sit at a really interesting intersection between coffee, protein, collagen, and an overriding functional wellness that's needed, as a few of the other brands that have been on here have been. So they're already established consumer categories, and people drink coffee. And also Starbucks have launched a variation of this as well. So people are already spending money on protein products, on collagen products, on coffee products, and we kind of sit at that intersection of all of them to bring that into play. And we're not asking consumers to learn a new habit. We're asking them just to upgrade and make a change that's going to make a drink work better for them. So we've already proven people want it. So we're not just a concept. We've gone out there, we've done the rounds, we've been to 30 plus events, we've done sampling in person, we've done blind sampling, and we know that the product is what it is and people want to buy it. So we've just done under £100,000 in sales since launch, and it's been completely bootstrapped. We've served over 1,700 customers. We've built a repeatable model from a very limited marketing budget. And we've had really consistent, strong feedback from customers. And we've worked with a few other retailers, but we've also kind of had 2 awards with the Nourish Awards here in the UK for the best functional drink and the best nutrition and protein product. So we mentioned about the customer acquisition and the repeat behavior. We have noticed a sort of a 41% repeat customer returning rate. And from our very limited marketing budget, we kind of produced about a £19 customer acquisition cost. So if I haven't already sort of said, we are a D2C brand first. This is what our raise is for, to really scale our D2C side of our business. Now, I do know that the £19 is very ambitious, but that was on very limited testing. And that was from some very basic ads and all done by myself. So we have a clear path how to get to our benchmarks, and we already kind of have a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of our spend, and we have a clear path to at least get to a 3-to-1. And we're not testing something that hasn't been done. We're just re-engineering what we've already learned. So this is just a broad overview of our financial projections. So sort of year one post-launch, you've got the figures on screen there. So looking to have a kind of a 300K revenue. And then year two, when we activate all of our D2C platforms, we anticipate that to jump rapidly. So to 1.2 million and into sort of a year five projection of around 6 million. So that will include an element of retail, but we want to focus on D2C first. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're asking for 400K. That will be split across marketing, sales, ops, our team, and our inventory and production control run. So we are SEIS and EIS approved, and that will all kind of go into that. We haven't had any filled yet, so we are open to ticket offers. 2 seconds. So just a bit more of what's to come. So we have a whole different product lines available.
Wrap up nice and quickly, Josh, because we've gone over by 8-9 minutes now. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few products that we've already lined up that we've already produced and tested. That include sort of the functional mushrooms and hot chocolate, protein mochas, etc. And all of those come within different serving sizes and offerings. So it's kind of a bit more about our next 5 years. But yeah, that is me done. I'd like to open the floor to any questions.
Thanks, Josh. That was Josh from ProBrew. Let's hand over to Niraj first. Niraj, we got 2.5 minutes per panelist. I want all panelists this time. Be mindful of time. Let's go.
Definitely. Josh, thank you so much. Good presentation. My question is around what's your production cost right now, and how do you see it fluctuating in the future?
So our gross margin, I won't discuss exact production costs. So our gross margin sits around a 52% currently.
Okay.
And we know as we scale that margin will come up.
I know coffee production the prices have been fluctuating the past few years. Are you worried about that?
We obviously are keeping an eye on it, but that production cost there is based on probably the most expensive that we can purchase. So our current pricing model. We know that the specific coffee that we purchase is a very fixed fee at the level that we're at, but as we scale, that margin comes down a lot, just because of the quantity that we have to purchase.
Definitely. And I guess my last question, because I think I ran overboard last time, is that who's your ideal customer profile? Like, who's that one? What's the persona on that?
So that one base persona, so our number one is females in the ranges of 35 to 50 that don't want to rely on protein products, but are active, go to the gym, etc. And we found that from our sort of data that we've already collected through our customers.
Okay. Thank you. I'll leave time for the rest of the panelists. Good job, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go next to Salah, who missed last round. Salah.
Hey Josh, how you doing?
Hey Salah, I'm good. You okay?
Yeah, very good, very good. Really, really good presentation, super detailed. And I don't have that much that I wanted to ask. There's one question that I wanted to ask just around LTV, because I think I saw that you said, I made a note that you had like a £19 pack and then 2-to-1 ratio, implying that your LTV ends up being about £38. But I know you also said you've got a 41% repeat rate. So like, how have you calculated that? Is that
sorry that you might have seen that a bit incorrect. So our £19 is our customer acquisition cost to start with, running roughly at 2-to-1. But we found that was just based purely on customer acquisition costs. So when we didn't when we didn't factor in the customers that fell off, we had a much higher LTV on customers.
Okay,
on average.
Understood. And my other question is, I don't know enough about this kind of protein collagen market within coffee specifically, but who are the major competitors? Who are you competing with, and what is your point of difference versus them? What would you say?
Yeah, so we have two main competitors on the market at the moment. They have gone very much down the function route instead of taste. So they produce very similar concept, but packaged in a different way. But they have gone through adding more function into that coffee, so it's more like a shake than it is an actual coffee first. So where we flip that on its head, we've gone, if someone's going to drink a coffee, they want it to be tasting exactly like their coffee that they might have swapped it for. So that's kind of the main comparison there.
Cool. I'll pass on to someone else so I don't take up too much time. But
appreciate it.
Well done, and thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
Yes, go to Gennady, who had a little time last time, and then we'll end with Imran in this round. Yeah, we are doing well for time actually, so take your time.
Yeah, please grill me. Let's go.
Well, my first panelist to actually poked at a lot of things I would poke at. Josh, so I'm going to ask. So in general, good job, and I've actually saw your pitch before, so good to see the progress. It's going to be a little bit of a black swan question. Beyond just the price of coffee, which is of course fluctuates, where else do you think you might be extra sensitive to beyond the things outside of your control, which is your ability to produce things, your ability to scale, lower costs?
It's definitely customer acquisition jumps up to me to that. Like customer acquisition costs are, I know I kind of touched on there, but they're not a given. We know that that's beyond our control in terms of when you're playing with the platforms, especially sort of like Facebook ads. We know that that's out of our control, but that's why we wanted to sort of really nail the D2C before we push into any other sector. Because I think if you build a strong D2C model and then you expand into retail, then you've already got kind of a loyal customer base that you can lean upon.
Okay.
And probably secondary to that, I do think obviously coffee prices do fluctuate quite a lot. I do think protein prices tend to fluctuate, especially if bigger brands are asking for more demand of the type of products. So I do know about 6 months ago there was the specific protein that we use. It was going for a bit of a shortage because I believe one of the big players in the protein market was gobbling up a lot of the resources.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about and this is somewhat related to the customer acquisition. You're banking quite a bit that there's a customer behavior and enough of it for the ProBrew. You're not building the brand for 26 or 27. You're building it for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Where do you think you're exposed? If the customer behaviors changes, where are you exposed, and how are you positioning to basically mitigate it?
So I think the exposure potentially comes from narrowing the product range that we have. So that's why we would look to try and expand the product range. I do think the D2C behavior is only a stepping stone for us to push our way into retail. But I do agree customer behavior is definitely different, and it's an unknown, isn't it? And that's why I think the D2C should be used as a stepping stone into retail, so that you have two real big revenue streams, but built off the back of D2C, because there's some huge brands that have all built D2C products and then done really well in retail.
Last question, what's your exit strategy, if you already have one?
So my exit strategy would be kind of a 5 to 7 year period. And that would be, well, I won't put figures on it, but that would be to push it to the point where we've started into retail, and then all that would have to be was a bigger player in the market, such as so I had the names I've written down, but I couldn't name them off the top of my head. But they would acquire us and take the brand to the next level.
Got it. So basically setting up for a acquisition.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you. Well done.
Thanks. No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Gennady. And the last panelist we have Imran, of course. Imran.
Hey, Josh, how's
Hi.
it going?
I'm good. You okay?
Yeah, doing great, doing great. Love the brand, great presentation. I think your background adds a lot of credibility to the brand. I think that's really important, especially considering the consumers you're going after. So a couple of things stood out to me. So I think the first thing is when I saw protein coffee, I got really excited because I'm a coffee drinker. Plus, I try to consume a lot of protein. But I think also given your background, you should be able to, or you must have thought through this, but um, within protein, if we break, I think protein is quite a big word.
Yep.
I think what's happening is that brands are throwing around the word protein, but then if you take it a level deeper, within protein, you have different sources of protein, right?
Mhm.
You have collagen, you have whey, you have so on and so forth. And these proteins don't get absorbed the same way, right? So collagen isn't a complete, it doesn't have a complete amino acid profile
Yeah.
versus whey. So I think maybe only 10 or 20% of the collagen actually would get absorbed for, let's say, for muscle building and muscle protein synthesis.
Yep.
So I think my first question would be because similar to Saleh kind of stole my question because he asked you about other brands and as we kind of went on, I was thinking, oh, but Reformed in the UK exists, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are doing, I think, about 60 million pounds, give or take, only in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to understand a bit more about how this is, and I get that this is this is focused on taste and not on functionality, but I mean, there's a couple of things within the point I'm making. The first is on if you're going for female consumers who are thinking about going to the gym and everything, but we're leading with protein, and it doesn't seem that we're leading with collagen. I think it could be a bit misleading there for the average consumer, maybe. And then yeah, the second thing would be as a brand, you said that you're going for taste and not functionality. But given that your primary kind of target consumer are women who are functional, the logic would say that they're probably looking for something functional. Whereas if you're looking, if your kind of main positioning is taste, you would probably want to target coffee drinkers, right? And then there's the whole tension of, but then those coffee drinkers probably wouldn't want to drink a functional coffee because of the connotation of not tasting good. But then that's where you're trying to solve, right? So that's kind of, those are my 2 points, and I'd love to hear if they're taking them on.
Yeah, so I think I'll touch on the protein differences first, just from my background. So the protein differences, yeah, you are right. They do have different amino acid profiles, but I do think we shouldn't be consuming just one protein source. So, and from the literature as well, we shouldn't just be relying on whey proteins, whole proteins. We want to be supplementing with other protein products as well, not just your whey protein and all the chicken that you can eat. So you want to be having collagen as a protein source, because it is higher in other amino acids, especially for sort of joint health, muscle health. And as I said, you don't want to be relying just on that whey protein. So I do think there is an importance in that. I will caveat what I was saying that we did play around with using the word collagen in it. So on our current packaging, we have wrote the collagen dose on it as well. So informed consumers that will be looking at the packaging or looking at our website blurb will see that is part of our material as well. It wasn't the main point we wanted to go for, because I think protein coffee as a overarching concept is something that draws someone in. Sorry, do remind me of that second sort of point.
No worries. The second point was kind of just the tension between who you're going after versus the positioning of the product. Yes.
I think kind of my answer to that second bit was in that first bit, but I think again you are right. We are going after that sort of target market of 30 to 50-year-old females as a primary target market, and that is why we chose to include the milligram of collagen serving in that as well, because I do think if they get drawn in by the protein, they go, oh cool, it's got this and it's got the milligram of serving. And I think you did mention about the sort of taste over the function. I think we do we are both, but we aimed for taste first, because we're aiming for that repeat behavior during a day, and not just, oh, I'll have this because I know it's good for me. Does that make sense?
Thank you,
Thanks
Josh.
for that clarity, Josh. I have to bring it to the close. Thank you for the questions there, Iman, and the analysis. Thank you very much, Josh. Great pleasure to have you again.
Thanks,
Look
Jamal.
forward to following your journey and supporting you on the way.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end of the 4 pitches. We're now going to have a quick event wrap up before moving to Zoom breakout rooms. So we had 4 startup pitch today, 3 drinks and 1 vegan food brand. These were the 4 pasted in the chat on screen. We had David Hardigan presenting Blink Plus, and Natasha Ownby presenting the vegan patty lady, Sophia Brockman presenting Nice One Drinks, and Joshua Skillman just now presenting ProBrew. We have 4 panelists joining us. First time in a long, long time, only third time ever we've ever had a mammal. So 4 men today, and very unusually for us. And the 4 men are being pasted into the Zoom chat now. So we had Gennady Goldenstein from Dynamic Ventures, Imran Karim from Homegrown Ventures, Niraj Singh, our mergers and acquisition expert who's based in the US, but also a drinks expert and CPG and a wellness enthusiast. Then we have Saleh, back to the script slides, Saleh Sheikh, angel investor and food and beverage SMO. We're not going to go through each of them. We're going to move on now to very quickly just the upcoming events, and we're going to go straight to Zoom networking. So the community links are being pasted in the chat again. Please reach out to us to join our community groups and join our main list. That's where you hear about the events being announced. I'm now pasting the upcoming events in the chat. At least 2 of them are published. But for the 30th of June, we have the Food Tech Pitch Lounge. That'll be live streamed again. It's a little bit more, it's a mix. We have both B2B model, but we also do have retail and tech and innovative ingredient type businesses on that event series, and even sometimes some ag tech. So that will be happening on 30th of June, same time, same place, in Zoom, interactive and live streamed across our platforms. Then we've got on the 9th of July, we've got another one of our coaching editions, the Foodpreneur Collective Pitch Lounge, agri-food edition. So that'll be a mix of ag tech and agri-food and also food and beverage retail. Then we've got our Drinkpreneurs, which is just exclusively for the drinks brands. That's the 16th of July. And these events are in the chat right now. You can always join those LinkedIn event pages. And lastly, wrapping up July, we'll have our AgTech Pitch Lounge at the end of the month, exclusively for obviously AgTech companies that are doing controlled environment agriculture, robotics, Internet of Things, those type of innovations within the agricultural sector. You can find out more on the announcements about the panelists and the startups that are signing up for those events through our Pitch Lounge page. Thank you very much, Simon, for joining again. Simon runs fantastic headhunting for the food tech, ag tech, food and beverage industry. Reach out to him if you need help finding staff. Event recordings are available on demand on our LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel. And you can, you can, not only was today live streamed, but you can catch up on demand, but also we've got all our webinars that we run with the GCC region, and all our other investor demo events are there as well. We do at least 1 or 2 per month. So the whole backlog for the last year and a half ago is available on YouTube. Next, please. And big thanks to the back-end team, Pavan particularly in the background helping, and also the other team members of his, Ram, Harsha, Arjumand, and also the other extended intern team we've been taking on recently. So new interns, not freelancers as well. Thank you to them for helping, and look forward to getting them involved. If you want to pitch with us, you can do so on our website. It's you can not pitch on the website. You can apply to pitch to our website. Send us your investment deck. Tell us a bit about your business and the stage it's at, and when you're looking to raise funds at pitchlounge.net/startups. When we panelists, we had 4 returning panelists today. We have no new panelists and no women. We'd like to have more. Please reach out to us if you'd like to join our panels. /panelists as well. Thank you very much. Moving on, and always hopeful and very open to sponsors. We had the sponsors the first few years of running these events. I'm very happy. We're about to move on to breakout rooms, and that's the end of the food and beverage pitch lounge for June 2026. I'm Jamal Maxey from Pitch Lounge, and we thank you as keep supporting early stage food and beverage founders along their journey. Thanks, everyone. Good night or good day if you're elsewhere in the world. Bye.